In the Haftarah that we read this morning for Shabbat Ḥazon, the prophet Isaiah warns the people of Jerusalem that their society is headed toward destruction. Isaiah urges repentance and moral reform, calling the people to learn to do good and seek justice. Limdu heitev dirshu mishpat. Rescue the oppressed, defend the orphan, and plead for the widow. He promises that if these people return back to righteousness, then Zion can be redeemed. But if they refuse, destruction is inevitable. This evening, on Tisha B'Av, we will sit low to the ground and chant the opening words of Megillat Eicha. Not a prediction of the potential for destruction, but this time a lament of our temple and Jerusalem devastated and desolate. Eicha is Isaiah's vision actualized. Eicha, how could we let this happen, despite all of the warnings? This opening word of the book of Lamentations echoes another call from the very beginning of our Torah. In the Garden of Eden, after Adam and Eve eat from the forbidden fruit, and again after Cain murders his brother Hevel, God asks, Ayeka, where are you? Ayeka is not a question of physical geography, but of moral geography. Our Torah is calling out to us today, asking us, where are we? As the world around us cracks and crumbles, what is our role? We are still carrying the trauma of October 7th. We still pray daily, just as we did this morning, for the return of our hostages, b'mhera v'yameinu. The evil that Jews and Israelis in particular face from all sides is real and horrific. And as the war stretches on, so do the questions. Questions about cost, goals, what it means to fight not only for survival, but to do so in a way that reflects who we are as a people. Yes, Hamas caused this crisis by its horrific attack on Israel, and this is a just war. Yes, many Palestinian civilians participated in the atrocities of October 7th. And despite the blizzard of misinformation, it is also clear that there is urgent hunger in Gaza. Hamas has prolonged it by hoarding food, looting aid, fabricating and inflating casualties, and using civilian suffering as a deliberate strategy for global pressure. Yet true as this all is, there is human tragedy unfolding in Gaza. It is not a zero-sum game, and we cannot turn away from these truths. It is precisely in moments like this that our tradition begs us to ask ourselves, as Daniel Hartman and Yossi Klein Halevi did in their most recent For Heaven's Sake podcast episode, Eicha, how can we let this happen? Ayeka, where are we in this? What is our role and our responsibility? Rav Baruch Friedman Cole shared this week on social media that responsibility does not always mean guilt, but it does mean that we have the ability to respond. As we begin the book of Deuteronomy, Dvarim, we are reminded of the just and loving society that Moshe imagines for us in Eretz Yisrael, in the land of Israel. When you reap your harvest and forget a sheaf in the field, do not go back to get it. Leave it for the stranger, the orphan, and the widow, so that God may bless you. Our Torah states clearly, even if you're not the cause of someone's suffering, if you have the power to alleviate it, you must. If we have the power to help, we must. And if we can rescue innocents from tunnels beneath Rafah, I know that we can find ways to feed Palestinian children caught in the crossfire above ground. I am proud of every Israeli effort to coordinate humanitarian corridors, every food drop that makes it through, every pause in warfare for aid distribution. Those decisions are reflective of our Torah, of our values. And yet it can be so hard to stay steadfast to one's morals when you feel utterly alone, as we do. Yashva vadad ha'ir rabati am haita. Eicha reads, lonely sits the city once great with people. There is none to comfort her. All her allies have betrayed her. They have become her foes. While even the Arab League condemned Hamas from a place of moral clarity, the Canadian government intends to reward terrorism with statehood, while hostages are still in captivity and Hamas still controls Gaza. This disappointing statement undermines those in the region who are finally calling for disarmament and reform. And it sends the message that terror tactics are a legitimate path to statehood. And still, we are called to hold fast to our values, to retain our humanity, not because it's easy, but because it is right. Even when we feel abandoned, isolated, and heartbroken, even when others are not held to the same standard. Even then, our task is to show the world that we believe in the sanctity of life for Israelis and for Palestinians. Amid Isaiah's harshest rebuke, he reminds us that it is never too late. Be your mistakes like crimson, they can turn snow white. Tzion b'mishpat tipadeh, v'shaveha b'tzidaka. Zion shall be redeemed with justice, and those who return to her with righteousness. This Tisha B'Av, may we hear the cries of Eicha and Ayeka pierce our hearts, not with despair, but with a fierce sense of responsibility and an unwavering compassion. Let us rise to meet these calls so that our hostages may return home and that this war may finally come to an end. Shabbat Shalom.